Standing at 400 pounds, Jimmy Young always wanted to play the running back position, and after 3 years in high school, his coach finally allowed him to do it. Jimmy always did believe that he was a running back in an O-lineman's body, and this is the year that he wanted to prove himself and make it to the collegiate level. Jimmy also always wanted to play at Florida alongside Anthony Richardson, so that is his big goal for the senior season. Our first game will come against the Northbrook Cobras, and we'll be trying to lead the Akron Bobcats all the way to the state championship. So in the first game, my coach did have us have his returner as well, and you guys could see the absolute mass that Jimmy Young does carry on the field. And we are going to go all the way across the 50 on our first touch in our senior season. So with the good field position after the kick return, Jimmy Young obviously wanted to establish himself as a power running back, and we're falling forward every single time. We are struggling to pick up yards here, but it will come. Later in the drive, the coach did call a power O to the right side, and this is what the play we absolutely love to see. There was no one to meet us in the hole. We got a free run to the end zone for our first touchdown of our senior season. Luckily, our defense did hold them to a punt, and you guys can see we are still on the punt return right here, and yes, we have our first mistake off of our helmet. There is no way we're going to be playing special teams after that. We might even lost some downs on the offensive side. Once again, our defense bails us out, and the coach is still giving me the ball. We're going to take a power O to the right side, all the way down the sideline, our biggest play of the season yet, and the corner hawks us down. Later on in the drive, we are on the 4-yard line, and our 400 pounds pushes us all the way through, and we make that look like an easy touchdown. Our defense gets another stop, and we are back on offense inside the red zone, and we take our short pass all the way in, and you guys already know that 400 pounds is scoring every time. This game started to get out of hand. We are up 21-0, and we take another power O to the right side, and Jimmy Young, untouched, into the end zone for his 4th touchdown of the game, and actually his longest run of the game. In the first game, we obviously destroyed Northbrook right here, but Jimmy did end up with an absolutely ridiculous stat line: 284 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground, 2 touchdowns in the air. This is looking like a great season opener. It only took 1 game for the 400-pounder to play the running back and already receive his first offer on the year. The Akron Zips will be our first offer on the season. Heading into game 2, we already did achieve 1 star. We have 230 recruiting points. We would love to see Jimmy Young have an explosive game in game number 2. Starting off against Forestville, who is 0-1 on the season, we didn't start as fast. Definitely a sluggish start for us on the ground here, and Jimmy Young is going to look for a big play here in the first half. Later on in the drive, Jimmy did start to heat up, and our wide receiver did get in the way there of a touchdown, but later on, we did take a halfback draw all the way to the outside, the 400-pound man breaking tackles and picking up an easy first down. We did end up getting into a 3rd and long, and we're going for verticals right here inside the red zone, and our quarterback does take a major sack. The next play, we are going for a halfback screen, and being 400 pounds, I did run into the offensive line, and now we turned over the ball. The defense has been a rock for our team, and they get us back inside the red zone, and we are going to punch in a 5-yard touchdown to swing the momentum. Fast forwarding to quarter 4, we are up 34-3, and Jimmy Young is still pounding the rock, having himself another monstrous performance. As you guys can see, we are kicking it to the outside. Although we are 400 pounds, he does have that speed, and we punch in another power O, which seems to be our favorite play, and Jimmy Young is dominating. In game number 2, Jimmy Young obviously got the player of the game again. 43 carries, 300 yards. He did only have 4 touchdowns this game compared to his 6, but still building onto a monstrous season. After the game, we did get our second offer from another Ohio team in Toledo, and we did earn our 2nd star, making us a way better running back in the rankings. Later on in the season, we are in the first round of the playoffs, and our teammate did catch the kick return, and he had a wide open lane to the right side, and he runs it back into the middle. This is about as rare as it gets. Jimmy Young actually gets a sweep call to the left side, and we take it all the way for 9 yards. You guys get to see the big man moving. Despite being 400 pounds, Jimmy likes to kick it to the outside to show off his versatile speed for the scouts watching in the bleachers. But on the next play, we are in passing formation, and our quarterback hits a strike on the left side. We score the first points in our playoff game. Our defense, who has carried us the entire season, got us another stop, but Jimmy Young, being 400 pounds, still likes it to kick it to the outside way too much instead of running over people. The other student section was starting to yell fraud chants at us as they were starting to bag us in the second drive. After Jimmy Young's second drive struggles, our coach did end up substituting us out on the 4th down, and they did go for 3 here, and we took a 10-point lead in the playoff game. Our opponents did get 3 up on the board, but we do have ourselves a 2-minute drill, and we'll be able to see Jimmy Young in the open field break a tackle and falling forward for 9 yards. And this drive, we did look like prime J.D. McKissick out here catching balls over the middle, and on the last second buzzer beater, we did catch a touchdown wide open over the middle for our first receiving touchdown in the playoffs. Heading into the third quarter, we did take our favorite play, the I-form power O to the right side, and Jimmy Young is off to the races, but a safety is going to hawk us down and push us out of bounds. It seems like no high school team can keep up with the Akron Bobcats as we win 33-3, and we have 250 yards and 2 more touchdowns to add on top. After performing really well in our first playoff game, we have 2 big offers from North Carolina and Michigan State. After locking in some more scholarship offers, we did move up to being a 3-star running back, hopefully to lock in some more scholarships. So in the playoff second round, we do have a rematch against the team we played actually in our first game of the season, Northbrook right here. We did start off hot this game. Usually it takes us a little bit to kick it in gear, but Jimmy really wants to make it to that state championship. Surprisingly, in the playoffs, our coach is calling Wildcat right here, something we haven't ran all year, and he's trusting us in the playoffs, and we are going to have our biggest touchdown of the season. Jimmy all the way to the left side of the field, and we score the first points. We are back on offense and taking a sweep over. You guys can see that score, 35-7, another slaughter over here, and Jimmy is breaking so many tackles, showing why he should have always been a running back in high school. Later in the offensive possession, the coach trusted us back into that Wildcat, which worked earlier, and we have a negative 7-yard run, our worst play of the season. Over here on 3rd and 9, our quarterback is throwing us a screen, and we seem to be on opposite side of the pages, and Jimmy is raging. After another blowout playoff loss for our opponent, it looks like the Akron Bobcats are in favor to win the state championship. We end the game with 3 touchdowns and 189 yards. We're looking to keep on building on top of this. After Jimmy Young has had a dominant season, we are dominating here in the playoffs in through game 2, now heading into game 3. Jimmy Young actually receives his dream scholarship right here from the Florida Gators. His dream has always been to play with Anthony Richardson, and he finally has achieved it. Even after the big news of the Florida Gators, we did move up to a 4-star running back, collectively trying to build up to that 5-star. We have 2 more games left of the season if we can make it to the state championship. With 2 more potential games left in the year, we do have a lot more offers right here confirmed, and obviously Florida being our favorite, we are going to keep on building and hopefully get a lot more offers here. With only 1 more opponent waiting in between us and the state championship, we are starting off on kick return, and we make a big impactful block and pry us all the way over close to the midfield. Our coach has built a lot of trust in us in this Wildcat, and we are taking a counter on the first play of offense all the way to the crib, 56 yards. Our previous high play was 30 yards, and we nearly doubled it in the first play of the playoff. Our defense did end up getting a pick 6 and then got us the ball back once again, and we are in the Wildcat taking a power all the way around, and Jimmy is showing off his speed to get his 2nd touchdown of the game. The game ended up being a blowout. We didn't even get to play the second half, but Jimmy Young still finished with 32 carries, 239 yards, and 4 touchdowns. With only 1 more game left in the season being the state championship, Indiana did offer us a scholarship, and we finally did hit the 5-star rankings. This is solidifying our high school career, but it's not over yet. With the Ohio State Championship being inside of the Ohio State Stadium, we are looking to shake off these playoff jitters right here in front of all these scouts watching. Obviously, we're looking for a big play, but not too bad starting off with 10 yards. After their sluggish first couple plays here, Jimmy is looking to break off a couple big runs after that halfback draw. We get a nice little cutback to the outside right here, and you can see the speed on the 400-pounder. We get a big gain. Looking to capitalize on offense, Jimmy is cutting it all the way to the outside, and we are going to beat everybody on the defense all the way to the end zone, and we are going to take the first lead in the state championship. With our defense getting stops all the time, it makes running the ball a lot easier for Jimmy Young. As we cut it back to the outside, you guys can see the speed getting all the way untapped right here, and nobody could even bring him down out of bounds. After the really big play, Jimmy takes a nice little 10-yard run to the outside right here. We truck a guy on over back at the 1-yard line, but you already know what time it is. Jimmy is also feeling himself. This is going to be the easiest pound of our life. Take a nice little touchdown here in the game. So the state championship ended up being another blowout. Nobody stood a chance against Akron the entire season, and we finished our last high school game with 190 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. After an insane high school career, Alabama, the #1 school in the college football program right now, did offer us a scholarship as well. And with that being the ending of Jimmy's career in high school, we had a lot of amazing moments, but we do have some big decisions to be made. We'll be doing that in the next video. If you made it all the way to the end, make sure to hit that like and hit that subscribe.